Hello and welcome back to another video, and today I'm finally here showing off the completed version of the MotoGP 2025 season mod. So apologies that it's about a month since I last uploaded. I have basically been putting all my free time into finishing this mod. It is now finished, and today I'm going to go through and sort of just give it a quick showcase. So obviously, first of all, you can see I've changed the logo, the new MotoGP branding. Love it or hate it, that's the branding we're going with going forward. So I've put that into the mod as well. So obviously, immediately in the menu, nothing has really changed here because it's Brad Binder. So thank you, game, for deciding to show him. And of course, I'm just stuck on the Aprilia here. I suppose the only thing here is Hungary, actually still called Sokol. I do need to change that before the mod actually comes out, but you know, that's basically the only thing to do, I guess, is update a couple of text strings. But if we jump to the rider selection, go to the MotoGP class, first of all, of course, you can see Jorge Martin, the 2024 World Champion, of course, moving to Aprilia next season. At the moment, we don't know whether he's going to be using number 89 or number 1, so for now, have stuck with number 89. We'll update it to number 1, of course, if he does change to that. His teammate, Marco Bezzecchi, obviously moving from VR46 also to the Aprilia. So 2 for 2 so far with actual changes. Next up then, we've got Francesco Bagnaia, so another rider who has changed very, very slightly. Won't bother actually going into photo mode for him because the only thing that's changed is the fact that number 1's now gone, and it has gone back to the classic number 63. Next up then, probably the biggest transfer of them all for this year, Marc Marquez. And you can see I have gone with a slight different colour scheme with the number. Matches Bagnaia is actually the black in the middle and the red on the outside. Was suggested to me by a couple of different people because that's what they'd sort of used in some of the pre-release stuff with him. So, you know what, thought I'd go with that. It is a bit more legible on the bike than just the red number, but of course when the actual first round starts, obviously we'll make some adjustments on the testing or whatever they decide, because of course the Barcelona test he was just using the red livery. Helmet has got Monster logos on as well. I know it is rumoured that he won't actually run Monster logos on his helmet, but for the sake of realism, replace the Red Bull ones, and we've got the Lenovo Ducati logo on the top. Next up then, another rider with changes. So literally everybody so far has had changes. I guess it's quite a big shake-up really in the MotoGP class. We've got Jack Miller jumping onto the Pramac, which is of course now Yamaha instead of Ducati. This livery wasn't made by me actually. I do want to give a shout out to Semfreak for that one. He made this awesome Pramac Yamaha livery. Of course, it's pretty much the Ducati livery put on the Yamaha, but that does not do it justice how difficult it actually is to do that. It takes a good bit of time. It's very good livery, and really appreciate him allowing me to use it. Of course, the other rider in the team is new as well, Miguel Oliveira. So you can see, of course, again, the Pramac livery. Still sticking with basically the same colour scheme as Ducati, because that seems to make sense. I know there's some rumour about them being sponsored by Alpine next year, but you know, for now, we have no idea what's going to happen with that one. Next up then, Alex Marquez, no change for him, so we'll skip over him. And then his teammate, Fermin Aldeguer, obviously moving up from Moto 2 onto the Gresini Ducati. The Ducati vacated by Marc Marquez. And I'd expect this to be pretty much how it looks, to be fair, because obviously they haven't changed the livery for the last couple of years. Can't see them really doing that again. And there you go, that is Fermin making his debut in MotoGP. Next up then, Gian Antonio. No change for him, so we'll skip over him. But we've then got Morbidelli as his teammate. So we'll have a quick look at Morbidelli. Back in the VR46 fold. In fact, actually, has he ever ridden for a VR46 team? I don't think he has. So actually, this is the first time he's back into the VR46 team. Obviously, always been part of the academy since he came into Grand Prix racing. Next up then, we have got Brad Binder. Like I said in the menu, no changes for him, but his teammate has in fact changed, Pedro Acosta. So of course, not only has he changed bike, he's changed number, gone back to that old 37 that he loves to run. Very similar obviously to the 31, because they kind of did a very similar looking font. Changed the outside colour to orange as well instead of red. So it was going with the gas previously. But there you go, back in Red Bull KTM colours. Not been long, only a year that we've not seen him in these colours. But he's back to it once again. Next up then, we've got the Tech 3 team, who of course are also now going to Red Bull KTM. So pretty much the exact same livery. I've done a bit of a twist on it. I've kept the Motul logos, replaced Mobile 1 with Motul basically all over the bike, because that's kind of how they did it previously when they ran in Moto 3. So I thought I would do the same thing here once again. And obviously, you know, not too much to look at here really. Is the same livery. Custom Red Bull helmet there for Maverick Vinales as well. First time he's been Red Bull affiliated for a long time. Now his teammate, Enea Bastianini, moving from the factory Ducati to this effectively satellite KTM, but you know, the colours very much factory, so it will be interesting to see really how factory it is as we go into next season, especially with all the issues that KTM are having financially. But once again, of course, a custom Red Bull helmet made because, again, another, well, I was going to say another monster athlete, but of course, actually, Vinales wasn't a monster athlete anymore, but even still, a rider going from one energy drink manufacturer to another, so I've had to change that on the helmet as well. Next up then, we've got Fabio Quartararo and Alex Rins. No change here at all, so we'll completely gloss over that. Same with Ralph Fernandez as well. No change there. He's staying on the Trackhouse Aprilia. We have then got the next rookie, Ayagora, obviously the reigning Moto2 World Champion, moving up to the Trackhouse team on the Aprilia. See there, we've got the Kushatani leathers, because of course I think he's going to be continuing to use those for next season. Obviously, at the moment, is still the original Trackhouse livery. I know there is a pretty good version of the new livery floating around, so maybe that will get included in some update, but at least in the launch version, it's just going to be this livery because I just haven't had time to make it from scratch, to be honest. Next up then, we have got Jean Zarco. Obviously no change for him, but he has got a new teammate alongside Somkiat Chantra now. This is the first rider that's in the MotoGP class that didn't have a face pre-existing. Obviously those Moto2 riders that we have seen so far already had their faces created for the rider transfers in career mode, but there wasn't one for Chantra, so I've kind of had to take a bit of a guess. I've just basically found a face that kind of works, I guess. I mean, that's what I usually have to do every year. I'll just find a random one of the custom faces and just put that over the official rider that doesn't have one. And then the last two actually are the still at the moment Repsol Honda team, because of course that's what they're using in the testing, so that's why I've still gone with that. But it will become, of course, Team HRC, and I think probably in an update I will end up putting out to remove all of that. But that is the MotoGP class. Let's move on to the Moto2 class. Probably won't spend quite as long in here as I did in GP, because I don't want the video to go on forever. But of course, first of all, we've got Sergio Garcia, no change there. But he has got a new face alongside him in the garage. Well, maybe not a 100% new face, because of course he was in this team in Moto3 already, so they will have had some interactions. But we've got Ivan Ortola moving up to Moto2, staying with the MT Helmets team, of course. Next up then, we have got Alonso Lopez, no change there. But we have got, on the other side of the garage, Celestino Vietti, moving from the IO team after a season that was not great, but it wasn't terrible. I was surprised to see him get dropped so early on. He got dropped while I'd done basically the summer break, really, for next year. Of course, he saw out the season, but we already knew that he was leaving. And he moves to the Speed Up livery, and with the Speed Up being blue, which obviously was what they were using in pre-season and round one, it actually goes quite well. I think the blue of the Speed Up goes well with the blue of Celestino Vietti. Next up is the American Racer team with our very favourite sponsor, of course. But we'll skip straight over them because no change in that team. And we'll also skip over Albert Arenas. I know QJ Motors on the side of the bike. I believe they are coming back now once Manu Gonzalez has vacated the team, so I think it makes sense to keep that one. But there is a new rider, of course, coming into the team. Darren Binder moving to the Grassini team. And to be honest, his number pretty much fit the bike perfectly because the red ran the outside of the 15. And thank you to Milestone, they've now added Ixon leathers to the game. Makes my job much easier for some of these transfers because I didn't have to make him a custom suit. Already existed, so I just had to put his gloves on it, which is always lovely. But next up then is Aaron Canet. Obviously, no change there, really. But again, another new face on the side, the other side of the garage. There's been so many changes this year with the transfers. I think that's why it's taken me so long to actually do the mod, because there is probably more changes than I've ever had to do before. We've got Barry Baltus on the Fantic bike. I have inverted the colour of his number. Obviously, he runs the famous Barry Sheen number 7, which always was famously black. But funnily enough, a black number on a black bike doesn't show up very well. So I've inverted it because I think that's likely what he will do. And to be honest, it looks quite good actually. I really quite like it, so I actually hope that he does go with that. Next up then, we've got the Aspar team, a new lineup here completely, but we've got David Alonso moving up from Moto3, and I reckon this could be a really good one. It's very rare that we see riders challenge for the championship in the first year, and I don't think he will, but I think he'll be good. I think he'll win a couple of races. I mean, maybe he'll be an outside shot for the title, but certainly one to watch for next year. I think there'll be some really good races from David. And to be fair, same with his teammate as well, Daniel Holgado, obviously changing number, 96 taken by Jake Dixon, so he's had to change to the number 27. But actually, again, blends in quite well. I think this is one of those ones where we have seen this basically all liveried up already because of the testing at Jerez. So yeah, I think that's probably why it does look a little bit better, but always nice to see. Next up then, we've got Mark VDS. Now, they are moving to Bosco Oscuro in 2025. At the moment, I'm just using the Calyx livery because, again, it just saves time for making the livery. Will get updated to be the Boscoscuro model, but I have removed the Calyx logos off it at least, so there is that. So there is a small change, I guess, for Philip Salach. And alongside him then we have got Jake Dixon, who is moving from that previous CF Moto team over to Mark VDS. Of course, at the moment, still a Calyx model in the game, but I have told the game that it is a Boscoscuro, and we will swap it out for the Boscoscuro in an update once the livery is complete. Next up then, we've got Dennis Onchu. No change for him, so we'll skip straight over to him, to his new rookie teammate, Colin Vire, moving up from Moto 3. The number 95 on the front of that IO KTM. You can see he's already got a Red Bull helmet, so it does fit quite well, although I have seen in the testing that it's obviously more of the official IO, official KTM style Red Bull helmet that he'll have next year, so obviously won't really look like that. Then we've got Senna Aegis, no change for him, but we have got Manu Gonzalez moving alongside Senna. Still got that QJ Moto logo on the front of his helmet. I thought I removed that, but I probably forgot to put the file actually in the pack. But here we go then, moving to NTEC GP. And again, another one that for me fits quite well. I think the number on the front of the bike really kind of goes with the livery. I think it's because there's that sort of red up the side here. Goes really well with the Manu Gonzalez number in my opinion. So look forward to seeing that one on track for sure. Then we've got Mario Aggi. Obviously, he's not changed team, but he has changed number. So the number 64 that he used in Moto 3 has returned to the front of this Calyx. Next up then we have got his teammate Yuki Kuni. You may remember this name from a few years ago. It was in the Moto 3 class with this team, but he has now returned after winning, I don't know what championship it was, but I think it was one of the All Japan series, if I'm not mistaken. Apologies if I am incorrect in that, but it was an Asian Superbike series, that's for sure, that he won, and he's now back with the number 92 on the front. So fairly easy because of course he was already in a previous game, so just had to take some of the assets over. Next up then, Diogo Moreira, no change for him, but he has got a brand new teammate, the reigning World Supersport champion Adrian Huertas. And there you go, you can see it on the Italtrans. Now, obviously one thing to note is this is the first rider that's completely custom, not been in the game before, and you can see he has got a proper number, and that's what I've done this year. I've actually gone through and made proper numbers for every rider. You probably remember in the previous seasons when it's been a new Moto 2 rider, new Moto 3 rider that's not in the game already or not been in a previous game, like obviously with Cooney was. Well, I've given them sort of a generic number, like just a white font. But this time I've actually tried to go through and make custom numbers for everybody, so hopefully you will appreciate that. And it is based on numbers that they've used in real life as well. And as I was talking, I swapped over to the Pramac Moto 2 team. And again, another placeholder because this is of course swapping to Boscoscuro. We're not really sure what's going on with this team in terms of livery and stuff like that, so that's why I was even more hesitant with this one. I will probably just remake this livery without the yellow, frankly, on the Boscoscuro and see how we go from that. Unless you guys want me to do the Pramac MotoGP livery on it instead. I'll actually leave that up to you guys, so let me know in the comments if you're actually watching at this point. But you can see, of course, I've changed the team name, changed the team logo. Everything's changed as well. The garage, the mechanic's not going to go through and show that, but actually the mechanic isn't changed because he was wearing just generic Yamaha stuff already, so that was appropriate. And Arbolina's teammate, Isa Guevara. Again, another one that I actually thought I had changed the, removed the helmet logo off of, but I guess I probably just forgot to put these files in the pack, so yeah, I will be sure to do that before release. Next up then, we've got the RW team. Zonta staying there for, is this his 4th season with the team now, I think? But alongside him now, we've got Ayumu Sasaki moving over from that VR46 team, and I have just noticed actually it's got Barry on the seat there, so make a note of that. Need to remove that before the mod comes out. So again, like I was saying on the previous rider, it's good for me to do this because I'll spot the little mistakes, the little bits that I've missed, because obviously typically I don't have to remove rider names off of seats, so I don't think to do it when I'm batch making the textures. Next up is then Daniel Munoz. Of course, we've seen him this season in 2024 with the Precanos team, the Precanos livery as well. Have heard that apparently maybe going back to go and stop, but I'll have to see. I'll have to see. Obviously, gas up. Obviously, it was always stop and go, so it was sag. Then it was changed to gas up, which I guess is go and stop. But yeah, I guess for now, we'll keep it as Precanos with Daniel Munoz. And of course, on the other side of the garage, we actually have another new signing, Xavi Artigas. So this was last minute. I was kind of expecting Masia to keep this seat, but of course, Artigas making probably a decent upgrade, to be fair, off the forward bike onto a Calyx. And there you go. Looks pretty good if you ask me. And then finally then we've got the forward team. We've got Alex Escreech, who is staying. And then Alberto Sura, another rider from a previous game. So you can actually see he's got full assets. He's got a helmet, he's got the number and everything. Which is a shame, because Editor Biker here, literally as I was in the process of editing this video after I recorded it, Jorge Navarro gets announced for this seat. So it was always a guess, this one, because it hadn't been announced, but I guessed wrong. It will be Sora when the mod comes out. We'll get updated later, but I wasted a lot of time on this one. So then, in Moto 3, first of all then, we have got a new rider right away. Dennis Foggia moving back down from Moto 2. We see this move happen occasionally. It doesn't end up particularly fruitful most of the time. Danny Kent obviously worked quite well for him when he stepped down from Moto 2 to Moto 3. Julian Simon, another one. No, it wasn't Moto 2 and Moto 3 at that time. It's 250 to 125, but stepping back worked for him pretty well. As I was saying that, I've gone and clicked on Maximo Quiles, so I guess we'll jump over to Maximo now. Obviously, making his debut in the Grand Prix, well, I was going to say the Grand Prix paddock, but he has done some races, of course, in Red Bull Rookies previously. Well, I'll say some races, done a few seasons in Red Bull Rookies, but of course, actually properly in the Grand Prix classes now. Next up then, we have got Angel Piqueras. Now, he obviously got out of his Leopard contract, moved over to MT Helmets. And you can see I've got a different coloured number on the front to match the one he was using in the testing. Now, I've put the unbranded helmet, as it's called, from the game on him for this. So it's still blue in the Leopard colours, but without the logos. His teammate, Yamanaka, nothing changing there, so we'll skip straight over him to, for me, one of the most interesting transfers in the Moto 3 class. So, David Munoz moving to Intact GP. I think this could be a really good shout, actually, a really good move, because David, for me, it's always had really, really good speed, obviously very aggressive, we know that, there's no question marks over that. But honestly, I think the guy's got some good talent. I think in a good team like this that could put his arm around him, I think he could be a bit of a dark horse. Suzuki actually kept this ride, very shocking. But he's kept it anyway, so we'll skip straight over him. And we'll move on to now the Red Bull KTM Tech 3 team. Now, just like in MotoGP, they have dropped the gas branding. So we've got Jacob Ralston, even though he's not changed team, he has changed livery, so just showing this one off. It very much like what I did in the MotoGP class, where I've kind of taken the original KTM livery, put the Moto logos on it, and got rid of some of the other ones, because that's just what they did previously when they ran KTM. Then he's got a rookie teammate, Valentin Peroni, who was in Red Bull Rookies coming through. So again, we've got another example of a custom number that has been made from scratch. Same thing for Maximo Quiles, actually. Actually, shout out to Maximo Quiles, because I messaged him and he actually just sent me a picture of his number, which was really, really helpful. So I do appreciate that one. So that's how I got his. Peroni's difficult to get him a number because he's only really been in the junior categories, but there was a picture of a helmet that he had where he had this font on it. So I thought, we'll take that and put it on the bike, because that actually looks like a really cool font. It's something a bit different, and it's much better than just a plain one, the plain like sort of junior GP one that I would have had to have taken otherwise. So next up then, we've got Adrian Fernandez, no change for him, so we'll skip straight over to him, to his new teammate, David Almanza. Now, of course, you will see that he hasn't got a Leopard helmet yet. Again, that is something I'll add in a future update, but this was a transfer I initially added as a kind of a guess, kind of rumour, but it is actually official now, so probably in the update when I do change some things, I will change that one, because, again, it takes a bit of time to make the helmet. Now, next up, we've got a completely new lineup at the Bowie team. Now, to be honest, I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name. I think it's Roosh Moodley. I can pronounce Moodley, but I don't know how to pronounce the first name, so I do apologise. Again, you can see has got a custom number font taken from Supermoto, I think. That's where I took it from, so that's what the font is based on. So again, you can see, I actually quite like the font, so I hope that he does run with this, but a young South African coming into the paddock, so will be interesting to see. And alongside him, we've got a Kiwi, Cormac Buchanan. So yeah, interesting to see a couple of different nationalities in the Moto3 class. He is the one rider that has got a white number, but it's not just a generic one. It is actually the font he used in Junior GP. I couldn't find a different font for this guy. So if you somehow watching the video, Cormac, I'll absolutely put you a new one in, or when he actually does some testing with Bowie and has a different livery, I will, or a different number font, I'll probably update it. But for now, I just had to take the Junior GP one and sort of run with that. So next up then, we have got the IO team, so Jose Antonio Rueda, no change for him. But alongside him, we have got Alvaro Carpe. Now, he did his debut at the last round of the season in Catalonia, at the Solidarity GP. So I've taken his number from that, the red 83 in the middle. And you can see, obviously, with him using RI helmets, I've pretty much just repurposed the Vinales texture, removed all the Vinales stuff. Next up then, a team we could skip completely, the 658 team, no changes there. And another one that we could skip as well, the Honda Team Asia team, no changes there in terms of their lineup. But next up we have got MTA, a new lineup completely here. So we've got Joel Kelso moving over from Bowie to MTA, so I'll be interested to see how he goes on. Bit of a sideways step this one, I feel like the team's actually quite similarly matched, but Kelso made a step this year, so we'll have to see how he actually gets on in the next season. Then alongside him we've got Matteo Bertelli moving across from Snipers, probably a bit of a boosted performance for him after jumping off the Honda, and the Snipers team just isn't really what it used to be either. It used to be quite good back in the day, obviously, when we had the likes of Finati, Arbolino on the bike, but doesn't live up to those expectations anymore, unfortunately. And speaking of the Snipers team, moving on to those guys, we've got Riccardo Rossi, who's moving away from the CIP, so back to the Honda. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. Didn't really make the most of the KTM, so maybe he will go a little bit better on the Honda once again. Bit of a pink theme going on for Snipers because they've taken Carraro, so we've got Riccardo Rossi with the pink outline, and we've got the pink inside there for Nicolo Carrara. So yeah, a bit of a pink theme going on with the numbers for the Snipers team. I don't know if they'll make them change that, because I know there is some actual regulation about what what colour the numbers can be. They have to be somewhat different, but I don't think it really ever gets enforced much. Moving on to the CIP team then now, of course, we've got Noah Detweiler is staying where he is, so we'll skip over him. Then we've got Scott Ogden moving from the MLAV racing team over to CIP. So it'll be interesting to see how Scott gets on a KTM. Obviously been with MLAV for a decent while now, and it was just sort of started to come together for him, so we'll see if he does transfer that form over to the CIP. And then finally, speaking of his previous team, we've got Eddie O'Shea on the MLAV Racing team. Again, this will be in the Mega Patch as well, because of course he actually raced for this team this year as well. And then alongside him, this was the other transfer I was talking about before, where I kind of had to guess. Vicente Perez did a few races for MLAV in this season, so I've taken him. I've actually changed him to number 11 because 21 is taken already by Moodley. But yeah, I had to sort of take a bit of a guess on this one and see who will sign for this team. I did hear that could be Zero Choose at some point potentially, but I just felt like because the assets were already made for him to be an MLAV, it kind of just made sense, and there was the link there, so I went with that. But of course, again, if that does change, which I'm expecting this one too, I will update it in the mod. But there you go. That is all three classes then. So lots and lots of changes this year. I actually didn't realise the scale of it till I went through it. So hopefully you guys will appreciate the work I've had to put into that one. Now, the mod will be released at the time this video is going out, so link will be in the description and probably pinned in the comments as well, so if you want to go check it out. That is pretty much it from me. Usually I do a little race, but I think because I've gone through all three classes, the video will just be too long if I do that one, so I think I will sign off here. But if you did enjoy the video and enjoy some more mod stuff, I have got another mod video coming up soon. Not a mod that I've made actually, but a really, really cool season mod for the MotoGP games that I want to check out, so there will be a future video on that one. Some of you guys may know what that's going to be, but I will just keep it a bit of a surprise for now, because it is a really, really cool mod and I do want to do a video on it. But like I said, I hope you did enjoy that one. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I shall see you in the next one.